Would you please welcome, making his way to the ring, the champion from Manchester, Ricky, the Hitman, Hatton.
Has just had the blues generally, frustrated again in his attempts to fight men from boxing's Premiership, and admitting that he's been below par in his last two fights against modest opposition. Tonight he says the preparation's gone well, and I'm going to give the fans the real Ricky Hatton.
Yeah, I think that's what will happen tonight, Ian. I think his disappointments and frustrations have been reflected in his last two performances. He thought after the Ben Jackie fight it would be onward and upward. This could still be a frustrating night for him, but he must take his frustrations out on MichaelStewart rather than the performance. He must get back to top-notch performances tonight.
I have to say the crowd is about 5,000 down on the usual. Is that because it's a Friday hard sell, or are the fans voting with their feet about some of the modest opposition of late? It's a talking point. Here's the tale of the tape. Stewart's a year older at 26. They're both 5'7". They were both a quarter of a pound inside the limit at the original weigh-in and made it again at another weigh-in this morning under that IBF rule you've been hearing about. Reach, slight advantage for Stewart. Stewart made his debut in 1996. Hatton has been a pro now for 7 years. He turned pro when he was 18. Amir can't take note. Stewart's had a few more fights, but Hatton's fought at a bit better level, beating the likes of Ben Jackie, Vince Phillips, Eamon McGee.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to the M.E.N Arena here in one of Europe's finest cities, Manchester, England. Tonight, Frank Warren's Sports Network, www.frankwarren.tv and Nemerov proudly present 12 3-minute rounds of boxing for the IBF Final Eliminator and WBU's like Welterweight Championship of the World. Welcome to you, the viewers watching live and exclusively on Sky Sports Friday Fight Night, and to listeners on Radio 5 Live. The officials have been appointed by the International Boxing Federation, the World Boxing Union, and the British Boxing Board of Control. IBF Supervisor at ringside, Lindsay Tucker. WBU Commissioner, Bob Rogers. British Boxing Board of Control, Stewart in charge, Charles Giles. Timekeeper at the bell, Mr. Colin Roberts from Halifax. The three scoring judges at ringside this evening are Albert Bennett from the USA, Roy Francis from England, and Manuel Maritxalar from Spain. Finally, when the action commences, the star referee in charge of the action taking part tonight in his 96th world title contest, a warm Manchester welcome please for Mr. Dave Parris from Edmonton in North London. And so, people of Manchester, England, live from the M.E.N Arena, this is World Championship Boxing! Introducing to you firstly, fighting out of the red corner wearing the orange coloured shorts trimmed with black. At the weigh-in yesterday, he scaled 9 stones, 13 3/4 pounds. His excellent record this evening reads 40 contests, 36 wins, 20 of those wins coming by way of knockout, only 2 defeats and 2 draws. He comes to the ring as the former USBA champion. He is the challenger this evening, presenting from Newcastle, Delaware, in the USA, Mike "No Joke" Stewart. And opposing him, boxing out of the blue corner, wearing his now familiar silver, light blue, black and white coloured shorts. At yesterday's weigh-in, he also scaled 9 stones, 13 3/4 pounds. He has a proud, undefeated record consisting of 36 contests, 36 wins. 26 of those wins coming by way of knockout. Tonight, making the 14th defense of his title, presenting the WBU's light welterweight champion of the world from Manchester, Ricky the Hitman Hatton. Dave Parris, final instructions, 12 rounds.
Okay, boys, I spoke to you both in the dressing room. You know what I expected here. Punch with an upper part of the glove. If one of you goes down, the other goes the furthest is your corner. Break when I tell you to. Defend yourself at all times. Shake hands, boys. Good luck to you both.
This is a final eliminator for one of the major world titles, an IBF version of the title to be contested by the world's top 2, Kostiashiu and Sharmbe Mitchell, on November the 7th. If everything goes right, Hatton, should he win here, would be in line to meet the winner if that fight can be made and terms agreed. And that is an if, of course. That's where we are. Hatton needs it to happen, but he has to take care of business here first. He cannot lose that focus. He has pledged to put on a show. Hatton, of course, in his Manchester City-style blue shorts. The yellow of MichaelStewart has only lost 2 and never been stopped in 40 contests, albeit largely on the Philadelphia circuit. Good body shots from Hatton, who shouldn't have to go looking for this, Stewart. He's usually in front of you and likes to come forward himself, but will Hatton force him back? And then, can he fight on the back foot when that happens?
Well, Hatton really looks fired up tonight. I think he knows the Manchester crowd, a big performance. He knows tonight's performance will be compared to Sharmbe Mitchell's over Stewart. So he really looks fired up for the challenge.
Just wants to make a restatement of his credentials a bit here, Hatton. But it is basically another hiding-to-nothing job for him. He's having to whip himself up to get himself right. He's had a good 11-week preparation, though he had to miss some time with a recurrence of a hip injury in the build-up late on.
Well, he's been caught a couple of times already with the right hand as he moves in. There's not an awful lot of head movement from Ricky tonight. Just maybe a little bit too eager to get his own punches on. Has to think about his defence as well.
One of the themes of the training has been back to basics, better use of the jab, and indeed better footwork as well. There's that trademark left hook to the body. How often have we seen that from Hatton, who's unbeaten in 36, one of the longest unbeaten streaks in world boxing. That one behind Joe Calzaghe, equal Calzaghe's record with a win here. Oh, and a lovely body shot! And Stewart collapses in the corner in the first round. Counts at 6. He's never been stronger, number 8. He gets up at 8. Dave Parris has a look at him, but he was crumpled by that body punch. And Hatton might do this quickly.
Well, you can see how much he means business tonight. That's the 3rd time the punch had landed, but that was the best of the punch. That was a beauty.
Stewart tries to get him with his own body shots. Again, it's another rib cruncher with the left hand from Hatton, then a right cross. It's all Hatton in this opening round. He's like a raging torrent. Should have done well to get through to hear the bell at the end of this round. This time he was up a bit quicker. Down for the 2nd time in the round. There's no 3 knockdown rule, but only 10 seconds left in the round. Hatton in absolutely explosive form here. Charvet Mitchell couldn't do this when he fought Stewart, although Stewart was down 3 times in the first 12 rounds of that fight. But what an opening round by Hatton, back to form with a vengeance.
Yeah, well, it looked business-like in the warm-ups as the announcements were being made. He looked as though he had a point to prove, and he's done that already. I'm surprised that Stewart, I mean, he was so experienced, he should have coped with the knockdowns better. He should have claimed Hatton, he should have stopped him working, but he just didn't quite know what to do. And that was a beautiful punch. That took a lot away from Mike Stewart. You see, down it goes, just picks the spot beautifully, there it goes, behind the elbow, took everything out of him. Then the next knockdown was a punch to the head, so he's showing he can do it to head, he can do it to body. I don't know what Mike Stewart's people are going to be telling him in the corner. I wouldn't know what to tell him.
Well, Stewart's trying to be friends this week with Hatton. He was even asking him out for a drink after the fight. It didn't work.
Well, I don't think Ricky seems in much of a sociable mood, does he?
I think he's an angry man in there, Ricky Hatton, and he's giving vent to the frustration. He's had his critics in various trade publications, people who think he's fighting shy of the big fights. I can tell you from knowing him that is not the case. He is straining at the leash for them.
Well, Stewart's body language was not good at the beginning of the second round. He walked out, then stepped back onto the ropes. I think he knows this job is too much for him already.
No hiding place in there at the moment for Mike Stewart, and he certainly is finding this no joke, just like his nickname. Hatton just looks way too good for him, a fighter from a different league, as indeed he should be.
Well, this is exactly the way we want to see RickyHatton as he moves in with the top league. Hopefully, I mean, okay, disasters happen, we don't expect one tonight, but hopefully one of the big fights can come soon. He is really hot at the moment.
Can he finish the job here in the second round? Stewart, at the moment, just has no answer. More body punches, and he's showing quite a lot of resilience already. Nice little left back from Stewart there, but these are spasmodic responses. Just needs to give himself a bit of room for the shots, Hatton, to find the leverage. There he goes again, body shot, uppercut. Into the inside of the glove with those, but they're certainly having an effect. Don't worry about that.
He's just getting a little bit too close to Stewart. He wants a half step back, give himself some punching room, some room to get the leverage in. Because I don't think he has to worry too much about Stewart. Stewart's hat has sunk already.
At the moment, he's just overwhelming Stewart. Can the American get through this somehow? Now a lovely uppercut, and then a left hook to follow from Hatton. He didn't like his own displays in the last two fights, particularly the last one against Vilches, when he was giving out a few distress signals in the corner himself after a limited 5-week preparation. Never again, he said. This time they've had the full 11-12 weeks.
Well, Stewart just trying to wing long right hands. He badly needs a bit of success. He can't find any.
Hatton has to be careful himself. He sometimes looks a bit open to right hands. Remember the Vince Phillips fight. Rocking back the head of Stewart. Who knows here, he's not at the Blue Horizon Club in Philadelphia tonight.
Well, Hatton is doing pretty much as he promised. Tonight was going to be a sparkling performance. That's what it's been so far.
Very one-sided so far. Stewart hanging on in this fight by his fingernails. It's a fizzing RickyHatton so far. Stewart claims to have Scottish ancestors in the Buchanan clan. I think he needs them all in the ring with him at the moment.
Yeah, I think he can be doing with a couple of helpers here. There's nothing is going right. He's throwing silly punches himself, desperate punches, and nothing's landing. He's really been totally dominating.
But Stewart's still there, and here comes round 3 in this IBF final eliminator. And trying to get in with his body punches. Stewart this time covers up quite well. Just to keep up the pace, the momentum. Stewart won't go away. He's tough. Even when Mitchell put him on the floor 3 times, he heard the final bell against that world-class opponent on his last visit to this ring a few months ago. Hatton will look to do a better job than Mitchell. Through the point.
Hatton is not allowing Stewart to get any decent punches off. He's bullying him, just pushing him to the ropes. You can just see the difference in physical strength.
Yeah, Stewart often, even in non-title fights, comes in at 10 stone 2, 10 stone 3. And in the ring tonight, I wouldn't be surprised if Hatton's weighing about 11 stone 2, something like that's what he says he weighs. He'd have put on extra weight even after that renewed check weigh-in this morning, when he was about 10-8, I understand. More left hooks to the body, then a right uppercut.
These are excellent body shots Hatton's throwing. The experience of Stewart, he's managing to catch them on his elbows now, but he's not able to come back with anything. So Hatton can do pretty much as he pleases here, just teeing off on him.
And these body punches, surely they've got to sicken Stewart before too much longer. He's showing a lot of grit to stay in there at the moment.
Just getting a little bit too close. He's smothering his own work. He just wants this little half step back, give himself some room. Just look at the target. He's just getting too close to Stewart.
After all those quick wins for Hatton inside 4 rounds, 3 of his last 5 have gone the full 12. He's looking to resume normal service here. Look at this assault. Combination punching the head and body. Totally dominant so far.
I mean, you see the way Hatton can manhandle him. He just pulled him around like a rag doll there when the referee said break.
Yes, he looks stronger, doesn't he? And more powerful. And more classy. Left hook to finish someone, and a right hand as well, which Stewart kind of walked onto, then wants to hold on for a moment.
Still just getting a little bit too close, so he's not seeing the target, just has to give himself some room.
Stewart gets through another round. Coming up, Ricky Hatton's favourite round, the 4th. It always used to be, though his last 5 fights have gone at least 6 rounds. And there are the number of body shots landed, 34 to 9.
Yeah, and I think Mike Stewart has counted every one of those. I mean, his body language is bad, nothing has gone right for him. Ricky Hatton just needs to stay off a little bit, give himself some room to work.
Here is the 4th round. Hatton in blue, remember the Manchester hitman, unbeaten. Left hooks to head and body, another left hook to the head. That dipped the knees of Stewart, but he stayed on his feet.
That was a quality burst of punching there from Hatton. Real quality stuff.
I'm just trying to find the perception among some experts that his power has somehow seemed to lessen in 1 or 2 recent fights, which of course, as I was explaining, have gone the distance. The Vilches fight, the Taki fight, the Phillips fight.
See, I think one of his problems, he's so attack-minded, he puts the opponent on the defensive, so they're blocking, partly blocking some of the punches. He doesn't see much clean target, and that's the case tonight. Stewart not really allowing him straight to that chin. He's kind of blocking the shots.
This is a difficult phase of Hatton's career, while he waits in a kind of vacuum, a kind of twilight zone. Oh, a lovely right cross, cracking shot. He doesn't know where they're coming from at the moment sometimes, I think, and the work rate and intensity of Hatton, again here, noticeable in these early rounds. Can he sustain this? He might think he should have the job done by now. I'm surprised, really, that Stewart has withstood this.
Well, he's facing a man who's never been stopped before. He's been with a couple of decent opponents. So, I mean, it's not so bad when you're actually dominating this man. But I still feel that he's just getting a little bit too close, and it's not to get the full leverage into the punches.
And he's just letting Stewart, not letting him get into this fight one little bit. There's another left hook. He's going to wake up with horribly sore ribs tomorrow morning, Stewart. At little left hook back by Stewart, and a body shot back from him as well. He's got a lot of pride about him, this American. Hatton's been guilty of anything. It's just been crowding his own work and getting a bit too close at times.
Yeah, I think in a more competitive fight, Ricky would find the target cleaner. But he's got the other fellow so defensive-minded, he just can't get the clean target.
It's just a survival job for Stewart at the moment. He's just hanging on in there and hoping that somehow late in the fight, the storm will blow itself out and he'll be able to come back a bit himself. He does there. Covers up well, Stewart, got his gloves up, blocked that right hand. And again, good defence on the right uppercut, did jolt back the head. How soon before he cracks? Everything to happen by Miles. And from an avalanche of punches by RickyHatton so far, he has the amazing success rate of 46%. That is high.
I think the problem for him is just not finding the target cleanly. Stewart has a good defence, he's very experienced, so that's probably the reason he's still in there.
Fifth round. I wonder what Leon Tabbs said to Mike Stewart. He's his main trainer, and he was in the corner for Bernard Hopkins in his great win over Oscar De La Hoya a couple of weeks back. Hatton resumes the assault at the start of round 5. There's another right hand. There's a danger of taking Hatton for granted a bit. He's been with us for some time doing this kind of thing, but he really is a handful, and I think he would be for anybody, even at the top world level.
Yeah, I think it's pointless keeping Ricky at this level any longer. Yeah. It's time now to move. Remember the big boys. I know it's easier said than done, but this is as good as I've seen him for quite some time. He's really firing in all cylinders tonight. It's not competitive. He's having things pretty much the way he wants to have them, but that's because he is so good.
Let's be honest, he was fighting better fighters than this 2.5 years ago. Krivalov, McGee. But the big ones just won't happen for him, and so he does find himself fighting a recent loser in this ring in Mike Stewart. Needs to be fighting the winners, but he has to just get the job done, and he's doing that very, very professionally so far.
I mean, the match was a little bit of a disappointment when it was made, because we saw the job champion Mitchell did on Stewart, but we knew the fight would be better. It's certainly more of a spectacle, but it's still not really a challenge for RickyHatton.
He has to keep himself focused on the job, though. Danger as he goes off the boil in the fight. It certainly hasn't happened yet, though.
Yeah, and when you're so dominant in a fight, you really should be thinking about enforcing a stoppage. I know Stewart is exceptionally tough, he's never been stopped before, but when you're so dominant, you should really be getting a result, shouldn't you?
Cuts Stewart around again. Doesn't really land cleanly with that little volley of shots. Good blocking from Stewart. He's showing good defensive qualities at times. Blocking, taking a few on the arms, stopping himself, getting the full impact of some of these. Quite clever work from him.
I mean, you would like to see Ricky getting him out of there within the next couple of rounds, because it's going to become a little bit repetitive if Stewart doesn't see the much of that. That one was clean. Yeah. That's the punch he's been looking for.
That's hurt him. Dave Parris just has a little look at Stewart. He's got to fire back. He does. Another punch. Another left hook, and down he goes on the far side. And the referee does not bother to count. Stewart is stopped for the first time in his career. He's done it quicker than Charmaine Mitchell, and he reaches to the crowd. I'm back to top form.
Well, that was the difference between a punch landing bang on target and not being partly blocked by Stewart's gloves. It was a beautiful left hook caught bang on the chin, and from that point on it completely robbed Stewart of his senses. Wonderful finish, and this is a man who has never been stopped before.
And it's his 41st fight tonight. Hatton yelled to the crowd, "That's more like it." He's right.
Well, he must be delighted. I mean, As we said earlier, this performance is going to be compared with Shanby Mitchell's, and it leaves it well in the shade. Totally dominant. I was just saying we don't want it going too much longer because it wasn't competitive. So for me, it was a perfect night's work, and RickyHatton picked the perfect time to put an end to it.
All over in round 5. Much more satisfying night for RickyHatton, who was giving vent, I think, to quite a few frustrations from the word go there. Stewart was never, ever in it. He showed lots of pride. He was very brave. He was obdurate. There were a cuddle from his mum. There's his dad, Ray, as well, who acts as a kind of business manager for him, too, in the various negotiations. And let's hope now, please, please, that the really big fight happens. The winner of Zhu or Mitchell, of course, there's a possibility of fighting the exciting WBO champion Miguel Cotto. Personally, I don't think they'd want to go that route. Cotto is absolutely red hot, and Zhu Mitchell's a much bigger fight on the world stage anyway. It was a left hook, as usual, that did it this time to the head at the end.
See, usually Stewart managed to partially block the punches, but that one went right behind the guard, and you can see the legs. His eyes and his head still knew what was taking place, but his legs are gone. So one more clean shot is going to put him over here. His defences are gone now. 1, 2, 3 left hooks, and that finisher was a beauty.
And the referee did not bother to count. Parris waved it off in round 5. There's the finishing punch from a very impressive RickyHatton. Let nobody be in any doubt. I know there's debates rage about this fellow. Now, he's got his supporters. There are people who want to be detractors of Hatton. This is a world-class light welterweight. He just now has to have that chance to prove it.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 2 minutes and 57 seconds of round number 5, referee Mr. Parris has dispensed with a count. Your winner by way of technical count-out, and he is still the WBU's light welterweight champion of the world from Manchester, Ricky the Hitman Hatton. Your appreciation, please, for a very brave challenger in the extreme, MichaelStewart. WBU Commissioner Mr. Bob